When Extra Space acquired Life Storage, one division of the former company seemed to have no reason to exist until one consultant saw a huge vision. Today, on Stories Behind the Door podcast, we're joined by the CEO of Warehouse Anywhere, Laura Holmes. She's helping businesses solve a problem they don't even know they have until it's too late to figure out the answer. And that solution is not only helping those companies keep their accelerated growth, it's also given a nice boost to the overall self-storage industry. Welcome to this week's episode of Stories Behind the Door podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus Campbell. She is the CEO of Warehouse Anywhere, not to be confused with the founder. Despite my mistakes on promoting this episode on LinkedIn, I had to throw myself under the bus there a little bit. Laura Holmes, thanks so much for coming and spending a couple minutes on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me here today, Thaddeus.
Very much excited to have this conversation. I met with you guys a month and a half, 2 months ago. Such a fascinating niche of the overall business. Really excited to dig in. Before I get into questions, I want to give a shout out to our friends at Kiwi 2. Wayne Woolsey and his team, 30 plus years of putting up steel buildings in self-storage and small bay flex. Simply the best crews in steel. Reach out to them at kiwi2.com, at kiwisteel.com. Get them involved early in your project. Take advantage of their 3 decades of experience in the business. All right. As I said, super excited for this because you're such a niche aspect of the overall storage industry. And I found it fascinating when I found out that you've actually helped build a business around this niche. First and foremost, I start the podcast out with the same question every time. Storage is such a niche industry. And even though you're not exactly a storage facility, it is storage adjacent, I guess I would call it. Talk to me about how Laura Holmes found herself in this industry.
Yeah, so I found myself in this industry in 2021. I actually started helping Warehouse Anywhere as a consultant. And at the time, we were owned by Life Storage, which we all know Life Storage, right? Anyone who's been in the industry long enough knows who Life Storage used to be. And now they're seeing the buildings in the navy blue and yellow that now have Extra Space logos on them because they haven't been fully rebranded yet. I was part of that acquisition. So Extra Space actually acquired Life Storage in 2023. And at the time, Warehouse Anywhere spun off and became our own independent company. So we were born out of Life Storage. We were actually a back office in Life Storage that existed to send rentals to Life Storage properties. That's how this all started, Thaddeus.
And as I said, like, it fascinated me that this niche even existed. Take me through a little bit of the business model of what Warehouse Anywhere is doing exactly.
Yeah, so we help businesses scale quickly. A lot of our customers come to us because they might have a new drug launch if they're in pharma, or they might have a new marketing or retail initiative, and they need to figure out a way to get inventory to their field reps as quickly and efficiently as possible, and send it there on an ongoing basis. So that's where warehouse kind of came into the name, right? So we're these little mini warehouses around the country for our customers. And unlike a warehouse where you have to sign a long-term lease, and there's the bailor-bailee relationship, and you may or may not be able to get in and access your inventory at any given time. You're kind of on a will call schedule, right? Our customers can get into their storage units at any given time. And they're typically on month-to-month lease terms. So it allows businesses to make quick decisions, to adapt to the market as their needs change, and not get locked into these really long-term leases. So that's where this all started, Thaddeus. And when you look into the self-storage industry, it's a very fragmented network, right? Like, there's so many owner operators across the country. I think, what are we up to? 70,000 locations across the US alone, where you can store things. And if you're a business and you're trying to manage this network, I mean, good luck. It can be a full-time job for multiple people at a company, depending on how many storage locations they have. We've had customers that have told us it takes one full-time person alone just to manage 50 of these units across the country. And that's just not the day-to-day management of the units, right? It's the
Right.
consolidated billing that we provide, and an insight into what's going on in the storage industry. So a lot of these locations will change hands because there's a lot of acquisitions, dispositions in this industry. And then you're dealing with ownership changes, you're dealing with changes to the lease, you might be dealing with changes to your amenities. And we centralize it all for our customers and make it really easy to manage on our platform.
This is blows my mind, right? It's so cool as you learn and you just see you never know what anyone's doing. I was watching a funny Matt Rife video the other day, the comedian, and some guy vinyl wraps caskets, right? And he was making fun of how you just never know what the different things that people are doing for business. I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. I think the last time somebody else signed the front of a W-2 check for me was 25 years ago. One of the hardest parts about growing a business is not scaling too quickly and taking on expenses that if things don't go the right way end up haunting you down the way, right? So I'm interested to know the feedback you get from the companies you talk about, because what this really reeks to of me is the flexibility to be able to control upfront costs.
Yeah, most of our customers, when they find us, their first question is, "Why didn't I find you sooner?" Um, and their second question is, "Okay, how do you help us consolidate our network? Because we have no idea what we have today in our storage footprint."
Yeah.
We've had customers that approach us looking to centralize all of their storage locations, and they have no idea how many they have. We've gone through concur expense reports
Yeah.
for some companies to help them figure out where they're storing all of their things. And that has led to findings like, oh, the rep is also storing, their spare furniture in the unit. Or, we have holiday memorabilia from 6 years ago in these storage units that we don't need anymore. And so we're quickly helping these companies optimize their footprint. And then they're able to go into our portal and figure out, okay, how much space do I need per region, per territory, per rep? All the use cases are different, right? But how many square foot is really appropriate for my needs in any given location? And so we're saving the money that way. We're helping them predict what they need in the seasonal demand times, right? We have companies that'll open up storage units and they'll close them down 4 months later because they've got a peak in seasonal demand that they need. And then they have ongoing sets of units that they'll stay in for years. We have customers that have been in these same units for 10 years as well, which is really attractive to the storage industry. So it's all kind of over the map, Thaddeus. I'm not sure if I fully answered your question there, but
You nailed it 100%. And a couple things that jump out to me here. Number one, everyone who's involved in storage even a little bit understands the challenges that we've faced in the last 3 years as we came out of COVID and interest rates got hiked and housing movement slowed down. As you're renting these, what's the response you've gotten from the storage industry? I got to imagine that there's operators that are calling you regularly to keep that relationship open.
they are. And if you go to our website, you'll see a call to action if you want to join our storage partner network. We're growing that network every single week because we're essentially bringing free business to these storage
Yeah.
facilities. And they're commercial customers. Who doesn't want a commercial tenant at their
Yeah.
storage location? We pay the rent on time. We're in the middle, so we're dealing with any of the headaches that there might be on the customer end. Um, and we're making it so that these reps and customers can get into these storage facilities anytime they need to, but they're not relying on all the interactions that you might get with a typical consumer walking off the street in the store.
Yeah, it's fascinating. When we first started talking, we're S3 partners. We're setting out to build a portfolio of small bay flex, larger size units, and one of the big attractions of that space is business to business instead of business to consumer. Not that there's anything wrong with doing business to consumer, but your delinquency rate tends to be significantly lower when you're dealing with a business owner versus a consumer. just going to support what you said about how attractive this has to be to self-storage owners, I'm interested to pick your brain a little bit. Obviously, small bay flex has kind of grown over the last couple years. The eyes on that asset class now are starting to grow daily. What are you guys seeing in that space? Are you starting to see product come online? Is that something you guys are taking advantage of at all at this point?
We are. We're actually actively growing that network as we speak, Thaddeus. We already have customers that are renting at small bay flex units in addition to self storage. It's just part of their supply chain logistics network. And the thing they like about small bay flex is they get a lot of the amenities that you would get in a traditional warehouse without those long term commitments. And it's a much smaller space, right? So they can control costs because they don't have to pay for more space than they need in a big warehouse. Their reps can go access that space at any time. They can actually work from those spaces. So you can set up
Yeah.
workbenches and whatnot. If you're a field technician and you need to fix equipment near a customer's house on the fly, we have a lot of customers that do that today.
Yeah.
You've got lighting, you've got temperature control. And you might have parking spaces too that you can rent on demand. And our customers need all of those things. So I do think our model is a perfect fit for small bay flex. And I hope to continue talking to S3 about it. I know we've had some early conversations so far.
Yeah, definitely not gonna be a conversation I forget to pursue, I can promise you that side of it. I wanna pull back a little bit. One of the things that jumped out to me immediately when I first talked to you a couple months ago, and it's one of the quite frankly, one of the biggest drivers of why I invite people to come on my podcast. You have a natural enthusiasm about what you're doing. It's just obvious that you really enjoy what it is that Warehouse Anywhere does. Talk to me about that. Is that something that's natural to Laura Holmes? Is it more about what it is that what it is you find yourself doing in 2026?
Yes, I think now that we have new ownership, right? In May 2025, we spun off from this larger company. We took the brand name with us, and we got new owners that see the vision. They're truly invested in our technology and our people, and they've let us completely blow up this platform that had been serving our business for 10 years. And now we've rolled out this new platform and formed a development team where we can bring technology into the equation in a way that we never could before. We can bring AI into the equation in a way we never could before. And my background, while I've only been working in, storage and warehousing since 2021, my background before that was very much in the tech SaaS industry. And I truly enjoy just working with dev teams to figure out, ways to get things done in a platform. That make people's jobs easier every single day, that make our customers' lives easier every single day. And now that you've got the speed at which the technology industry is changing with AI, I mean, man, we use Claude Cowork here at Warehouse Anywhere, and just the things you can do like week after week after week are
Yeah,
changing.
it's
The speed of change
insane.
is phenomenal, right? And so now that we have a platform where we can bring that in and we can take advantage of the speed that AI can now get things done at, I'm truly excited to see where we can take this for our customers. So I think it's the tech piece, Thaddeus, that makes me so excited about this. But then the other piece was getting to build this whole team out here in Denver from scratch, right? In May last year, I was the only employee at Warehouse Anywhere in Colorado, only one here. And now we're up to almost 40 people out here in Colorado. So
Wow.
we're building. I like to say we're building our team of Avengers. Everybody's bringing like their talents to the equation, and we're solving real problems for businesses.
I again, you had to go throw Denver in there. You know, I'm out in Philadelphia. I love Denver. My boss Barry's out there. I miss seeing the Rockies. I haven't been out there for about 8 months right so far. So I got to get back out there soon. Want to talk a little bit about the niche that you're filling. And one of the things that we got excited about Small Bay Flex is when you start studying demographics, you start studying what's actually happening in the American economy. The growth of small businesses is unbelievable, right? Tripled in size in the last 30 years. even super small businesses, businesses that don't have a W-2 employee, people that are all 1099. I mean, that explosion is so big. And I'm saying that as a way of asking a question of like, your market that you're appealing to is almost never ending in its growth right now. That has to be exciting for you guys and what you're seeing.
It's incredibly exciting. And while, we were really born out of the whole enterprise market, and mainly because storage units, 5x5s, 5x10s, if you only have to manage one of those as a small business, great, but we're not really going to benefit that much from it. But now that
Yeah.
we've got businesses that are coming to us and maybe they need working locations, SBI locations that are in the same area, maybe they need one or two or five. I mean, that market alone, Thaddeus, to your point, it's huge. So I think if we can optimize that through technology, we can make it easy for them to source locations that meet their needs. With very little effort, manage those locations through our technology platform. I think there's definitely a play there for us.
I'm gonna pivot a little bit backwards, and you brought it up again to the technology side of it. Yesterday on my other podcast, my more news-based podcast, I had Chris Taylor, who's the chief AI officer now at 10 Federal. They were the first of the major storage companies to bring a dedicated C-suite AI person in. That sense, other people are following suit. That was 2 months ago, by the way. It's not like it's ancient history that this happened. He's brand new, but he came out of NVIDIA. And one of the things he said yesterday on the show was that, 2 years ago, he was writing code. Today, he's talking to and he uses multiple different AI platforms and uses them to cross-check each other all the time, but he's no longer building code. He's talking to AI agents, and so I wanna ask you, how rapid is AI changing how you guys deploy what you're doing, and how is it helping you and in better serving not only your customers, but also storage operators who are able to benefit from it?
Yeah. So in the past, if you think about like a traditional database structure, right? You've got all your data, you consume all your data, and you're showing that internally and externally to a customer in a set format. AI has completely flipped that. So instead of this whole linear view of data, and this way of looking at data in terms of reports that are pre-built, now you just go in and you type like, okay, what's the average rent in this market over the past 10 years? And it's quickly giving you answers. And it's also showing you, okay, well, which facilities are the best to send my customers who have XYZ needs in this market. And when we build all of that in platform, I'm staying really high level here, Thaddeus, because I don't want to like get into the weeds.
Dig in deep.
But
I love the weeds.
yeah, but when you bring that all into our platform where we've got data that nobody else has in this
Yeah.
industry, it's a very powerful tool for us. And now that we have AI in there and we have a very structured way of managing our data, um, I mean, now it's on steroids. So we're excited.
I I love that. I there's a book called Ready, Fire, Aim that basically espouses the idea of like just go do it and right and figure out how to hone in. But one of the biggest principles that I took away from that book is this idea of staying inch wide and mile deep, right? Know what your lane is, know what you're good at, and just get so good at it that you do it better than everybody else. And I guess the point I'm trying to make here is it's going to be impossible for a company that's going through the kind of rapid growth that you guys really help people deal with to get really good at what it is you guys do in a way that they can manage it in the way that you can. And obviously, I mean, I'm guessing here that your profit is coming from the companies that you're helping to find storage for, but I know as a business owner what the cost of bringing someone in-house to do that and have to figure it out and not know how to do it well and not know how to maximize where those locations are is just, to me, it's like, man, what an unbelievable niche to have discovered and go just learn how to absolutely dominate.
Yeah, for sure, Thaddeus. And not only that, but by going through us, you get access to amenities that you can't get as just a business customer
Yeah.
on the open market. So
Yeah.
there's our data, there's managing the services, there's the consolidated invoicing, but there's also special amenities that we're able to provide to our customers. So yeah, great. If you're looking for a storage unit, you can go online and find that storage unit or SBI unit in any given market. You can read reviews. You can see if it might be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
But we've got data going back 10 years about which customers did best, which amenities were best at any given location, and then we've got the live feed from all of our storage partners today with all the other attributes about these locations, and then a way to mass communicate with those locations on demand, all in platforms. So, as we like to say, no business has a chief storage officer. This is kind of
Yeah.
managed across multiple departments at an organization. And generally it'll be procurement or the CFO that takes a look at why are we spending so much in this particular cost code at our
Yeah.
company. That's how a lot of these conversations originate. But when you really start digging into it, it might be owned by, 50, 100 different people at these large
Yeah.
organizations. And then trying to bring all those people together to figure out how to do this. I mean, that's a full-time job in and of itself for a company. So we set it up as a project that they can consume. We usually do it in phases, with the lightest lift ones first, usually our partner network. And those that are not in our partner network that businesses are renting at, we typically try to recommend that they move this locations to our partner network. It really does mean a lot to be part of our storage partner network.
Yeah.
So I strongly recommend to anyone from the self storage industry who's listening right now that hasn't joined our partner network yet. Get on our website
Yeah.
and join our
It's
network. It's free.
such a
It's free.
no-brainer, right?
Yeah,
Like just
yeah.
yeah.
Um,
I gotta interject here and just say I
oh,
am not she's not paying to be on this podcast. I'm getting no compensation for this. I'm the BD director for S3, not for Warehouse Anywhere. But when people come to me and their product is just so clearly filling a void on both sides of the market, I want to go back to something you talked about, and it's something we talk about at S3 a lot. Is time drain, right? Like, what's the cost of having 50 different people have to have ownership of a piece of the puzzle? That's not really what they want to be doing, right? There's nobody that's building a brand and building a product that wants to be managing warehouse space for that product. That's not the exciting part of launching a new product. And while there's an ass for every seat and a seat for every ass, usually the person who's coming up with a new product launch is not the person who wants to be figuring out the logistics of getting it to their sales reps and ultimately the customer. So I'm fascinated by that. I felt like I had to, I'm like, so I'm almost as excited as you are about what you guys are doing. Um, it's just because of my entrepreneurial side. And when I see somebody who's plugged into that puzzle and really kind of found a niche, I want to come back and I'm going to go a little bit macro here with Laura Holmes. I want to understand from you, what was it about you that made you want to go this route, right? Because many people will not go into a consulting gig and ultimately decide that they want to become the CEO of the company and figure out a whole path and chart a path to all of a sudden going from one employee to 40. What is it about Laura Holmes that kind of led you to this entrepreneurial spirit?
yeah. I think that is, I love solving really sticky problems. Um, and taking a division and turning that into a whole company. It's been a challenge, right? It's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of late nights. It's been every weekend. But it's worth it. Now I'm beginning to see like all those efforts yield results. Things that, I was wearing hats for they're coming off my head one at a time, right? I still might have
Yeah.
20 hats on my head. There's still a bit of building to do here.
Yep.
But I've been able to give the other 40 away to other people on my team. Um, and now I have 40 people that are fully bought into the vision and the future of this company. And so we're just accelerating the pace at which we're developing things, at which we're going to market, at which we're onboarding customers, and at which we're helping existing customers solve new challenges in a way that I wasn't able to see before, when we were under previous ownership, and we were keeping two other business units going. So we were kind of just an afterthought. So
Yeah.
with all of that flipped around and everybody recognizing the opportunity that is in front of us, I'm just so excited about it. Do I miss consulting and working with multiple businesses? Sometimes, but I'm kind of doing that in a way. Um,
Yeah.
uh, we're helping businesses solve problems. That's what we're doing every day, right? So that piece of it is still there for me in this role that I'm in now, and I really enjoy it.
All right, 2 questions that come up here. One, and I'm gonna ask them both, and I'll remind the second one, but if I don't ask them both, I'll forget. The first one is, how did you go from getting to an ownership group now that's supporting what you guys are doing? What did that transition look like? And the second thing I'm gonna ask is advice on growing to 40 people, because that's really rapid growth. That's not easy to do. So I wanna kind of pick your entrepreneurial brain about how you made that happen. Let's start with the finding a way to take this company and make it a priority for the owners. What was that process like, and what incited Warehouse Anywhere being sold and having the ownership that's supporting you now?
Yeah, so I think the previous ownership, they recognized our potential, and they also wanted cash to fund their other two business lines. So um, they had me pitch to various PE firms in early 2025. And, we got offers from almost every single one of them that we pitched
Can't
to.
imagine
So
why. Yep.
yeah, yeah, and I think ultimately the PE firm that we selected, they're in the mid-market, and they have this thing called the Value Accelerator Method, which is very much grounded in lean methodology, which I have my lean certification. I have my Six
Yeah.
Sigma certification, not to be confused with Lean Six Sigma. My teacher would tell you, no, it's two separate things, and it very much is. But I think that they just spoke the same language. And we instantly clicked. It's like I got an extension of the team on day one when they started owning us, which it's great, right? You don't always get that experience working with private equity. Private equity has a very, not so great reputation in some places,
Yeah.
but they truly care. And they truly care about helping us build this company into something that's great, something that has a very stable, solid foundation, something that has employees that are happy to, work at every day. Uh, we actually measure employee tenure as one of our long-term strategic goals,
I
right?
love that.
So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and then taking that to 40 people, we've had some awesome recruiters helping us. Recruiters that don't just go out and find, people to do the job, but recruiters that have gone and made this effort to actually understand our culture and what we're trying to build here. They're cultural evangelists for us. So, really funny story. Like last July, we were searching for an account executive, and at the time, our website was one page. We had a one-page website. Our new website that you see today was in development. And I think it happened to be down that week in July as well, because we were like switching over domains.
Yep.
Um, and so this person who's turned out to be a great team member, she almost didn't take the interview with us. She was asking our recruiter, "Is this a scam?" And our
Yeah.
recruiter's like, "No, no, no, you just have to talk to them. You just have to make time to talk to them." And
Yeah.
I think they've really helped everyone buy into the vision here before we even meet with them. And they've been able to help us scale in a way that if we just had one in-house recruiter, there's no way we would have been able to build a team this quickly. So it's been a team effort from both this internal group and some amazing professional services groups that we've been working with over the past year.
What's the next 5 years look like for a Warehouse Anywhere?
Yeah, I I mean, now that the shackles are off, I like to say, because we retired this legacy platform, that had been kind of holding us back for 10 years. We actually threw a retirement party in February. That's how excited we were to get rid of this thing. I think the possibilities are really endless. I think there's still so much fragmentation in the self-storage market. So we're helping bring that all together, right, for our business customers. I think there's other asset classes that are still a pain for businesses to manage that play very well into what we've already built in our platform today. And I know SBI is one of the ones that we've talked about, but there's others, right? And then there's all these other services that still need to be managed in these storage locations. And a lot of that work is still falling on very lean operations and sales teams. So I think as we enhance our platform, we can just make it easier and easier and easier for businesses to manage their physical storage no matter where they are. We have talked about expansion into Canada. I think that's still on the roadmap here. And who knows? Like I'm seeing the market over in Europe and Asia, right? It's maturing.
Yeah,
Like they're actually forming
quickly.
their own SSAs
Yeah.
in those groups right now. And I think maybe it's where I don't know if you agree with the statement or not, but maybe it's where we were like 10, 15 years ago.
100%.
Um, and so I think there's still tons of opportunity there as well.
If you can't tell by the smile I've had on my face for the last half hour, I'm just wildly impressed by what you've done. So, first and foremost, congratulations on what you're building. The idea of someone going in and seeing something as a consultant and then just deciding, hey, I'm going to go run this ship is amazing to me. So, congratulations on the success to now. Very much looking forward to watching what you do with Warehouse Anywhere in the next 5, 10, 15 years. Certainly hoping that I'm a little bit involved in that and help that growth a little bit in some way at all. Because I just see that you know this from the first time we talked. The second you guys explained to me, you may have even seen the light bulb go off in my head when I first really kind of understood what you're doing. Love it, and as I said, just mind blown that you've been able to do what you've been able to do. So want to thank you because I know how busy you are. I know when you're running a team like you are and you're growing a business like you are, that it's never ending. So thanks so much for taking some time and coming and sharing the story with us. Really, really grateful for you to be so forthcoming.
Thanks so much for having me today, Thaddeus. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely my pleasure. I'm running a little bit over because I can't stop talking to you, but I'm going to give a last shout out to my friends at Kiwi 2. As I said earlier in the show, Wayne Woolsey and his team, they have been putting up steel buildings for 30 plus years in self-storage, small bay industrial flex. You can reach out to their team at kiwisteel.com. I urge you, if you're a fan of the show and you have a ground up project, please reach out to Wayne and his team. If nothing else, thank them for supporting the podcast, but also you can lean on their 30 plus years of experience to help keep your cost of building as low as it's possible to be. Wayne and his team, can't thank them enough for making Stories Behind the Door podcast possible. She's Laura Holmes, not the founder, despite me misstating it on LinkedIn. I apologize for that. She is, however, the CEO and responsible for the incredible success that the company's had in the last couple of years. Cannot thank you enough for coming and joining the show. We'll see everybody next week.